Hi, I thought I'd show you an interesting lamp today. This is one of my favourites. As you might know if you've been following my channel, I do work underground in a slate mine. So because of that, I've always been quite interested in lighting, especially mine lighting. And this is actually a colliery lamp, primarily. This is a lamp I've had for about 5 years. I have used it underground a while ago. It's not a particularly bright one. Now it's got no maker's name on it. It has a number 1284. There's like a lamp number from within the colliery that it's from, but there's no lamp manufacturer, and I don't recognise it. It's very similar to some of the Seg ones that we had in the UK about the year about 1920s to 1930s. They were becoming popular before the advent of proper electric cap lamps. And you've probably seen like flame safety lamps from the period, ones that run on either like a spirit, like a petrol, or an oil lamp based one, like a paraffin lamp. They're designed to not only provide lighting but also warn you about atmospheric problems like low oxygen and methane presence. This is it's just an electric one, so this just provides light. It doesn't give you any kind of indication as to the dangers within the atmosphere. But they're brighter than your average flame safety lamp, so they were popular. And obviously, being electric, it's got a battery in the bottom, and you can see underneath there's 2 charging terminals that it was intended for. So the idea is all the miners had one of these, and they bring them up to the lamp room at the end of the day and drop it onto like a charging rack that would recharge the battery through there. I don't think this is British. I'm not quite sure why I think that. I think it might be French. And the only reason I suspect that is that when I bought it off eBay, it wasn't very expensive. I had a look to see what else the seller had for sale, and there was quite a lot of stuff there that had all been brought over on a shipping container from France, like somebody who's moving house to the UK, something like that, and they're bringing antiques with them. I don't know, but that's the only reason I think it may have originated in France. It's extremely well made. It's really actually quite beautiful. Obviously, you've got a mild steel base here, it's all welded construction there. You've got a brass number plate there, and a brass body here. It's been turned on a lathe, and you've got these arms here up to a mild steel cap. It's all blind riveted. Really well made. You obviously got the glass lens here, and a perfectly functional hook. It's designed to not explode if you take it into a methane environment. It's gas tight, okay, and they don't even have a switch, these things. That's deliberate. They are switched on when you leave the lamp room, and they stay on during their entire time underground until they come out. So they have to work for at least 12 hours on a shift. They usually do quite a bit more than that. It's very similar to the UK ones that I've seen. They have a 2-volt cell, so it's a single lead acid cell in the bottom and a 2-volt bulb or lamp within the lens there. This particular one, it still has its original lamp inside. The original battery I've taken out. It was just a massive sort of acid corroded horribleness, so there was nothing I could really do with that, so I put a different 2-volt battery in here just so I can use it. It does light, but because I don't have the special key that would have been with the lamp, that the engineers would have turned it on and off, I've glued a little reed switch inside, which is a magnetic sensor. So I've got some little sort of eBay magnets here. If you put that on, you'll see it lights. It should do. You've got to get it just right because the reed switch is not very sensitive. You can see it lights up there. This little studio setup I've got here has got really bright lights, so this looks really dim. But I'll turn the lights off in a second and just show you what that's like in the dark. Bear with me. One light, two lights, and now the main one. There we go. So it's looking a bit more powerful now. It's still not exactly a bright light, but you can see with it underground. It's not too bad. I don't know what sort of wattage it is. I would say it's probably about 3 watts, something like that. So it's not a lot, but it's fairly standard fare for the 1920s. Let me put the lights back on and then we'll open it up. There we go, just take that off. So it's a screw fitting. It's a bit of a crude setup inside. You can buy 2-volt lead acid batteries. Here's one by Enesis, which actually has its roots in the colliery industry, actually, in making cap lamps. So that's a 2-volt cell, and I've wired up just a couple of wires there just to hook onto it, and there's a magnetic sensor there. The rest of the case is just empty. So it did have a specific cell for this this lamp, and on this side you can see the contacts that the battery would have originally met when it was screwed shut. But I've just put some wires on it. None of the modifications here in any way are permanent or in any way actually change the lamp permanently. See, the reed switch is just hot glue gunned on, which makes it quite strong, but I could just peel that off. Same with this sort of ground connector here to the case. And this is just bolted on and hot glue gun. Glue just stops it moving about. I don't know if this can be opened. No, I remember actually, no, it wouldn't open. Oh, I didn't want to force it. The bulb's going to be a really old, weird one anyway, so it's not like I could even really change it. But it's 100 years old, it's got to be, maybe even a bit more, and it still works fine. So it's a lovely bit of history. I've got a lot of electric lamps, actually, from this sort of period that I still use. I think they're very quaint, they're very pretty. They're certainly very well made. You know, especially this one, if it is French, they've done a lovely job of it. You know, I'm surprised there's no maker's name on it. It may even be that it was made in a specific colliery, and they've actually made them themselves rather than buying them in, possibly. But I don't know. I mean, if you recognise the design, know anything about it, do let me know. I'd be quite interested. Okay, well, thanks for looking at that. I'll see what other lamps I've got, and I'll upload another one soon.